we planned on 4 sessions. They're roughly spaced out a couple of months from each other, and we'll give more details on the speakers and the content of the next sessions when we get closer to those dates. All right, let me give you a quick introduction on family balance. Our mission is to support team members with the competing demands of home and work lives while assisting with career development. And that is what we're trying to do here today. Especially, we want to bring your attention on our effort on advocacy. We support our Dell Technology and our executive sponsors and leaders in presenting all the benefits and resources and effort towards self-care and work-life balance. Today we have Jody here. She is our benefits admin from at Dell, and she's going to give us a quick introduction on all the benefits that are available from Dell Technologies to us employees.
Excellent.
Thank you, Jody.
Thank you, Valentina. Hi, yes, my name is Jody Dolnoan, and I'm one of your regional wellness program coordinators with the Dell Global Benefits team. Trina is going to go over some great personal tips and tricks that help support her professional development, but not to spoil them, but I wanted to highlight just a few Well at Dell resources that align with some of these tips. So one of the first things, Andrew Barton at dellteam.com has put together a mindfulness meditation inside Dell page. And on this page, there's a resource of other fellow Dell team members that actually host live mindfulness meditation sessions in all time zones across the country. We even have someone in Hawaii who hosts mindfulness meditation sessions on Fridays. So I do encourage you, I'll put the links in chat. You also have access to these links to register and sign up for these. Also, with Optum EAP Services, Catherine January is your local provider here in Utah. But if you have any questions on Optum services, you can always go to liveandworkwell.com, and where it asks for the company access code, just put in Dell, DELL, and it'll show you benefit-specific topics for Dell team members. We also have Fidelity Investments. There's a link here to Financially Well at Dell on mywellatdell.com for more information. And there is a single sign-on link if you have any questions on finances here with Well at Dell. Finally, with Bright Horizons, they're also a Dell provider, and they provide childcare services. If you have any questions, you can always dial that 877 number. But they have a website here, clients.brighthorizons.com. For, again, Dell-specific benefits information. The employer username is Dell, DELL, and the employer password benefits, the number 4, and U. Finally, of course, we have the Dell Wellness Hub, and I am your Dell Wellness Hub subject matter expert. So if you have any questions on that, please reach out to me. You can always go to the home page on either your desktop version or the app, click Programs, and click View All, and that'll list all of the vendors that provide benefit services to you as a Dell team member. So thank you, and I think this is where I pass it on to Rich Whitney.
Yeah, I'm gonna introduce you, Rich, real quick. For those who don't know you, because you should be having a lot of people that work with you in the audience, but Rich is a senior director at Dell Technologies and leader of ISG, leading over 650 team members from 24 different countries. His team is responsible for 24/7 break-fix enterprise support for several Dell storage products. Rich has a career spanning 35 plus years, leading different customer support and engineering teams at both Dell EMC and before at AT&T. He's an advocate for diversity and inclusion in the workplace and is an active member of Pride and Veterans Supporters ERG and the executive sponsor of Family Balance Utah. His passion for the Family Balance mission stems from his own challenges working with tech support in a 24/7, 365 days business while raising his family. But I'm gonna give it to you, Rich, and share a little bit of your story and your passion for family balance.
Thank you, Valentina. You pretty much summed it up. And boy, when you see 35 years in the industry and writing, it makes you feel old. So, but it's an exciting time, right? And thank you for giving me the time to talk to everybody today. Thank you for taking time out of your busy day. I know how busy we are. I'm excited to be here with Trina and hear what she has to say. But a little bit more about me. I have been here 21 years. I was with AT&T for 16 years before that. And it's always been a fast-paced environment, on call 24/7. But I kind of thrive on that at the same time. I am a member of the three groups, and I'm a member of the three groups, ERGs, because they're important to me. The Pride organization, number one, because my daughter works for a nonprofit company called the Trevor Project, which supports, provides resources for adolescents and young adults for suicide prevention. I'm a supporter of the Veterans and Supporters Group because, these men and women serve the country and they need help when they come back to get back into society, and we need the benefits. I'm a huge supporter of the Pride Group and the Veterans Association. The family balance one, though, is the one that really touched me most personally because of the challenges I've been through over time. And when Valentina asked me to be the executive sponsor for the Utah branch, I was kind of thrilled about it. But just a little bit, like you, I have the exact same challenges many of you do. We all work for a fast-paced company. We're all available. Most of us are available on a 24/7 basis. It's hard to even put my phone down when I go on vacation. And like you, I want to be successful in my career and I want to make the company successful. So like you, I have struggled to maintain that balance, right? When I first got into the business, I was working full time. I went to 10 years of night school and we had 2 kids when I was young, trying to maintain that. I raised 2 children into adulthood, but I tried at the same time to make every parent-teacher meeting. I tried to make every school play, every soccer game, and it's hard, I get it. Back when I started, we didn't have a lot of the resources we have today. So listen carefully today to the programs that Jody offers, what Trina's offering for advice to help maintain that balance. Because we all go through it with aging parents, dealing with illness, and it's a difficult struggle, I get it. But I'm so glad that we have these resources, and it's my job as a leader in the company, and it's our job as a company to provide you the resources to make you successful in your life and in your job. The biggest thing I want you to take away from this from me is, my saying has always been, I work to live. I don't live to work. I'll give the company 110%, but we need to maintain our own mental health and our own balance with family and work. So thank you.
So proud of our leaders. So let me go over Trina's bio a little bit. Trina is the CEO and founder of Rise Next, a social good profit company focused on rising up the next level of diverse technologists and leaders. Her career spans 25 years in the technology industry with companies like Novell, eBay, and Oracle. She's an active and passionate leader for women in the workforce and diversity advocate. She launched Tech Moms program and is educating and supporting the transition of women's careers into the technology industry and consults companies in diversity strategy and leadership development to support women in the workforce. Trina currently serves on Women's Success Center Board of Advisors at Utah Valley University, Board of Advisors for Weber State University School of Engineering, Applied Science and Technology, and National Advisory Committee for Weber State University. Trina, thank you for being here today.
Absolutely happy to be here. I love working with Dell. I'll go ahead and move forward here. And Valentina, thank you so much for the introduction. Just so that everybody has a little bit of understanding. And let me see, just real quick, Valentina, do I see if I have remote access here? There we go. Great, thank you. So just as a matter of kind of follow-up introduction, I got connected with Valentina, I think it's been just over a year ago, as we started to launch Tech Moms and expanding women's career transitions into technology, which has been a lifelong passion of mine. I actually wrote my thesis paper 25 years ago of why women should go into computer science. And so it's been really fulfilling and rewarding to have the support of Dell and many other corporations and higher education universities and technology schools that are all coming together to help create the next level of diverse workforces, and love being part of that. And so that is my passion. I am very driven in that space, but founded Rise Next 3 years ago to really help drive business strategy integration with the diversity, equity, and inclusion. And so that's the core of my work and efforts. But today I really want to talk about life work harmony and how do we find that? Because as Rich mentioned, we're running hard. We're running hard all the time, and our careers are important, our families are important, we are important. And we need to take time to find harmony in that. And there's a reason why I don't call it balance. I don't know if anybody's heard this before, but there isn't like a perfect balance between life and work and everything else that comes at us, right? It's how do I find at peace and find that center within myself where I can work through all of these things and understand how to move through them to where I feel in harmony. And it's not always a consistent thing, but we're going to talk about some key tips and tricks that I've learned throughout my career. I'm going to share a lot of my own stories, so hopefully everybody enjoys that, and can talk about, maybe it'll hopefully bring up some ideas for you on things that you can do and work together in creating some of these harmonious moments in our lives and careers. So a lot of what Valentina just shared about my background is listed here, right? I've had this very long technical career. I've worked in pretty much every aspect and role. I've been a network engineer. I've worked as an analyst. I've worked in sales, marketing, partner management, B2B, B2C. I've run product organizations. I've overseen PMOs. I've done release management. I've overseen technical operations, and then strategy work. And in addition to that, ending up doing consulting at the end of my corporate career, and then launching my own consulting company through Rise Next. What I've done throughout all of my career, you can see starting with Oracle and getting involved in employee resource groups, I always found that there was such value in these organizations like Family Balance, and all of the ERGs you guys are running at Dell are really making a huge impact, being able to have really great employee engagement and support, and being able to maintain this life work harmony. And so I got involved very early on into our Oracle Women in Leadership, moving through and becoming a member, then joining steering committees, community involvement, and eventually became the global president of Women in IT at eBay. I oversaw an organization of 1,500 members in 17 countries, helping drive initiatives like this and events that help really reinforce and support an organization. So that gives me a little bit of background. Usually when we present these things, we really talk about the things that have gone right. But where I want to spend time today is this. This is really what my life has been like. So on that first picture, you noticed, I don't know if anybody counted, but in this picture, there's 8 kids. So this is my husband and I have 3 sons, and my husband has 2 sons and 3 daughters. So we say we have like 27 kids. That's what it feels like, a lot of days, where we're really trying to manage a lot of moving pieces and people and feelings and all these things going on all the time. But, you know, when we talk about our careers, we don't often talk about the family side of it. We don't talk about the real life things that are going on while we're trying to build our careers and, learn and get educated in all of these things. And so I just put a few of the high level big things that I was working on in addition to my career, in addition to getting involved in DEI and helping in these areas. My 3 sons were born between 2002 and 2008. So that alone, being a mother, going on maternity leave, learning how to navigate, going in and taking time and coming back and being reintroduced to the workforce, and, working within being integrated with my teams and learning how to manage that, because I never wanted to give up my career. I love what I do. It's such a big part of who I am. It's finding what is the harmony that's going to work in having my family, and then also being able to continue to build my career, and being with a company that supported those things throughout my time was really, really critical. And figuring out, how do I now manage childcare? When I had my first son, I was working for New York Times and was traveling quite a bit prior. I had dedicated accounts that I was assigned to, so I'd travel quite a bit. And I couldn't figure out, like, well, how do I do this? I'm now a new mom. I now want to start traveling again and seeing my clients. What do I do? And so what I did is I actually brought my sister along on all my initial travel engagements, and she would help during the day with my son. I'd come back and be able to spend time, and I figured a way to do it. And, I have pictures in the middle of Manhattan with a little baby strapped to you. People look at you like you're an alien when you're doing that, by the way. There's not a lot of babies walking around Manhattan typically. So you just figure out a way to make it work. And there's some of those things that I had to figure out. And then, as I moved along, I thought, well, maybe I'll get into real estate. And I started buying homes, and guess what? This recession hits. I end up going through a lot of challenges going through the recession, as well as then ended up going through a divorce at the same time. So I'm now a single mother with 3 sons, my youngest being 6 months old, and trying to still build my career, work through these things, handling homes, handling all of these different things that are coming at me, and how to manage the stress of that. I was really glad when Jody brought up at the beginning of this, the mindfulness and meditation pieces. That was a huge part of my own journey of learning how to disconnect and be able to manage stress, and learning those tactics and behaviors that help us get through those times. Those are really important. But you step forward a few years, I now end up blending a family of 8 kids. That's a whole other journey, right? In bringing together this large family. And if you look at this picture now, and it says, "Don't we missed one," this is a picture of the 7 of the 8 kids, because we did family pictures and realized we actually missed one. So we don't always get it right. We don't. We end up finding times that there's mistakes made, and that's okay. And luckily we recovered quickly and did a few snapshots at the end of our family pictures there to be able to capture our 8th and missing child. But it's hard to keep track of, but we do it, and we figure out a way to do it, and to be able to find time for ourselves. And I'm going to talk about some of the ways I've done that. Another big area that sometimes can interrupt us is medical issues. We don't sometimes talk about all of the challenges that can come, or being able to know how to handle those. But when they do, knowing that there's resources there. So for me in 2019, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And I remember I got the call on my way to taking my team to a luncheon. I was working at eBay at the time, and I had this big luncheon for all of my teams, and we were supposed to meet. And so I had to put on this happy face for a couple hours and pretend that on my way to that luncheon that I'd gotten the diagnosis that I had cancer. And I got there, and it was like this whole blur of like, did that just happen? You're in this, like, your head's just, I don't even know how to explain the thoughts and things that were happening, but you just kind of flowed through it at the moment. At the point when I was ready to share the news with my team, I have to say it was really incredible how prepared they were, and being able to step up and say, "Trina, go take time for yourself and focus on your medical issues." And I was able to set aside my career and time there for a period of time, and I am now completely clear. I'm a survivor, and have to say that was such a nice thing to be able to say. I worked in an environment where the teams and everyone were able to come together and support me, which is what I see Dell and the teams are doing, is that you're there for each other. You're there for each other when you're having challenges. You're there when there's something that comes up and says, hey, while you're dealing with this, let us help in and come in and step up to help. That is such a powerful thing, and being able to know that you can share and have those moments where life comes at you and still continue within your workplace, and knowing you have an environment that's going to support that. I think this last year with the pandemic, that's a time when we've seen that, right? Learning how to do this, move to virtual, being able to handle the wellness and mental wellness issues that are coming up due to that. This last year, I've definitely, within my family, we've had a lot of these struggles that I know are being discussed, and a priority as far as suicide and mental wellness. And some of these challenges, it is real and it is happening. And I think creating an environment where we know that that's happening and then make it okay to talk about is part of the healing process, and being vocal about it. And so I think that just everybody kind of taking a step back and going, yeah, we're real people, we're human, and being able to have more open environments that can discuss that these things are happening and making it okay is where I really want to focus today. So let me kind of set the stage for the rest of the next, we've got about 15 to 20 minutes here. In order to find work-life harmony, we don't need to be better at time management. We need to be better at boundary management. And I'm going to talk about some of the boundaries I found that I had to set within my life to be able to find harmony. And so life harmony means making deliberate choices and then enjoying those choices. We get to be intentional about our lives. We get to decide what we're going to do and not going to do, and what's going to be of value and priority. And so I'm going to cover a lot of space really quickly. This whole presentation I'm building out as a full course that have just had so much interest in it, because there's some real detailed things that we can do and really to build this life harmony and being intentional about those choices. So these are the things that we're going to go through today. First is internal barriers that might keep us from harmony, our family, our financial boundaries, time boundaries, and relationships. And setting some of these things into motion and being conscious of those really allow us to do personal investment, where we get to grow and be fulfilled through being able to find better investment and time within ourselves. So let's dig in real quick to the first one, internal boundaries. Harmony starts from the inside. And through the work that I do with tech moms, we do a lot of tech transitioning, but I would say we do life transformations. That is the primary work we're doing with the women I work with. So when we start a course, the very first thing I do at the beginning of all of the cohorts is we talk about removing barriers. The first is no shame, no fear, no doubt, no guilt for being in the room or thinking you can do it or not do it. And I think this is the same when we look at our careers and taking the next step for our careers and moving forward, and can I do it, and getting rid of, imposter syndrome or any negative thoughts. This is a whole set of work that continually takes time and effort to do, but is so important to being able to get all the rest of the harmonious pieces to come together. If you haven't done the work on your internal and starting to recognize, when am I dealing with fear, and taking steps to get rid of it, you're going to be stuck in that, and you're not going to be able to manage everything else coming at you, because it's going to come at you, right? Life just does that. So doing the daily work to identify when we are in moments of fear, doubt, guilt, or shame, and then put up your own personal internal boundaries. So if you have those ideas and thoughts coming up, you can really flip the record. We have these record players that we might get stuck in, right? That's telling us good or bad. We want to say, I recognize I'm playing a bad record. I'm going to flip it just to the opposite. Start saying something that's more confident and positive rather than the negativity. And you'll start to see kind of a lifting and more positivity that comes into your life just by being intentional and aware of some of those things. How many, I'm going to just say, I know I can't hear people's responses yet, but we'll try and open up for questions at the end. But I think everybody, all parents, anybody that's got family feels like this, almost on a daily basis. Like, okay, what have I got today? And now I'm going to manage all this stuff coming at me, and what's going to be the priority and what's not. And it's a continual juggling, right, of everything all the time, and things come up and you have to deal with them. And you can plan to your best of abilities, but I can tell you my plans are always interrupted almost every day. So a couple of things that I've learned is one of them, there was a book I read called Drop the Ball. I actually dropped the ball on reading Drop the Ball. I didn't finish it, but I got the intention of the book, which was, we don't need to do everything. We need to do what's the priority. And we're not bad parents, mothers, fathers, grandchildren, daughters, sons. It doesn't matter. We're not bad if we don't always make our family the top priority. There's times when they are, and there's times when you're not, and it doesn't make you a bad person. And I think some of that guilt, right? Guilt keeps coming up, especially as I coach and work with a lot of our tech moms. It's more about the quality that we're putting into our families rather than the quantity. And so you can really have great family relationships and build these things as you go. And you want to be able to take on the opportunities and build your career and say yes to those things. We're going to talk about these boundaries. When you set those, it allows you to find ways through, just like I did. And, finding help, getting my sister to come with me when I wanted to go still see my clients, but I still wanted to spend time with my son. You can make decisions that work for you, and it's not the same for everybody. It's going to be different based on your current situation and the needs you have within your career. The other boundary that not a lot of people, when I've done a lot of reading on this, and I don't see this show up a lot in life work harmony, but for me, it has been one of the biggest things that has brought me harmony, and that is really being cognizant of your financial needs and setting boundaries there, whether it's saving and budgeting, investing in yourself and your education, learning the principles of investing. Another great thing Jody showed was, Fidelity, and they're learning, taking advantage of learning how to invest, learning how to let your money work for you. It's not the necessarily being rich, but being wealthy and learning how to get your money to work for you. How this has been one of those things that's brought me harmony and peace in my life is I haven't had to struggle as much as I've seen some of the women I work with, or those that not just women, but men and women, as far as financially struggling. If you're really in debt heavily, or you're dealing with not being able to make enough and you're making ends meet, you're not going to be able to find that harmony, right? And so having a plan, a financial plan, and investing in yourself financially and putting time aside to be able to make sure you're taken care of there is going to free you up down the road. When I got to be the point where I'm an executive at Oracle and making the decision to leave, I was able to make that decision and walk away from an amazing salary and benefits because I had invested in, and I now was in a financial position. I could start my own company. It gave me choices I wouldn't have had before had I not been diligent in the years that I did have my corporate job. And so it gives you more opportunity and provides more harmony in your life when you're focused in this area. All right, this is the one that does come up all the time when we talk about life work harmony. So everybody thinks it's time. If you remember the quote from the very beginning, we talked about that time. It's all time management. Well, everybody has 24 hours in the day. Why is it some people seem to be more successful than others? And it's because they've done the work to go, what's the vision of myself? Where do I want to go? And set priorities for themselves so that when things come up, they can say, no, that doesn't align to where I want to go. It's good, but it's not great, right? You need to say yes to the great things and let a lot of good things go in order to be successful, because there's always going to be something coming up. And even role playing how to say no can be really, really beneficial. Just, no, that doesn't work for me right now. This isn't going to be the right thing for me. I've got to, here's what I'm working on. I'm sorry, this just doesn't fit right now. Find a way. And I know a lot of people struggle with this. The ability to say no is really hard. And even in our jobs day to day, really talk to your leadership teams on what is the priority? What do I need to be focused on? Because there might be things that you're doing that are good, but they're not great and they're not getting you where you need to go. So be really clear on your personal vision, your job and your results and what you should be focused on from a delivery perspective, and then set those boundaries and say no when it doesn't align. Don't do all the little tactical work that really doesn't add up. If it's critical, you should be doing it. If it's not, then maybe it's something you need to let go to give up bandwidth so you can do something that's greater. All right, next boundary, relationships. And there's multiple types of relationships. And the key here is to recognize when your relationships are drawing from you rather than giving to you. Family relationships, we talked a little bit about this, but you want to make sure your family is in a situation that you're feeling supported, that you're built, it's equitable. Those are important to be able to set. Those boundaries are very important in your family relationships. And even in my own, I've had to tell family members, no, not right now. And that's hard because you want to help people and we want to give, but not always can we without our own expense, at our own expense. So being really clear on and aware of when you're saying yes too often. And you want to have friends that are supportive, that they're builders. I've had toxic friendships that I've had to let go over the years. And it's hard. These are all hard things, but colleagues that, being able to speak up, being able to receive feedback is important. And then also utilizing your network, and building relationships that are going to build and grow your career. You want to invest in there. So these are just kind of some ideas for you to think about, and really being able to make sure you've got rewarding relationships. And all of this, so those are the boundaries. All of this then comes back to, guess what I now have? I have the time and the emotional investment available to now invest in me. So what I see often is that we're so busy giving everywhere else that I can't then take time to build additional skills that can get me to that next level in my career. I'm not able to focus on my health. One of the biggest things when I went through cancer is that I made a priority to go to the gym every day and eat healthy. And even my surgeon said, the reason why you got through this successfully is because you were in such good, healthy state going in that it made your recovery even more successful on the back end. So those investments we make now in our health and our fitness need to be there. And if we don't make those a priority, you're going to be paying potentially for it down the road. So that same investment in our education, in our fitness, and then our mental health. One of the biggest things, I love the well at Dell. I think that's great, by the way. I think it's really fun. If I'm starting to feel, just being aware and mindful, right, that I'm dealing with high stress and I need to do something about it, I put myself in timeout. And there's been days where I've got back to back, like Rich was saying, 14 hours of Zoom calls in a day, like, hopefully not every day is like that, but I've had those days and I'll be like, okay, I'm going to take 30 seconds. I'm going to go walk outside and I'm going to just stand in the sun and put myself in a timeout and just breathe. Okay, I can go back now and start going again. So just being aware of those moments when you're just feeling like, okay, I just shut down for a minute and move on. So this is the final slide, kind of to review what we've just went over, really being aware of your internal boundaries. What are the things we need to focus on? Practicing mind control, positivity, stop those bad records and play the positive ones. And then setting those external boundaries for family, time, finances, relationships that are going to allow you to now invest in yourself, your mind, knowledge, career, your fitness, and really taking those timeout moments that it gives us the space to be able to make correct decisions. So to wrap up, and I know I want to leave time before we're done here for any questions. Like I said, there's a lot of work that we do through what I call Rise Next Academy. We do a lot of women in leadership. We do extended courses that we're pre-enrolling for an extended life work harmony session. If you're interested in any of the work that I'm doing, you can text Rise Next to that number and we'll get back with you, or feel free to enroll any of those courses right now. But we're really excited to work with Dell. They've been an amazing partner, and looking forward to seeing what more we can do right in this space moving forward. And then these are just my contact information before I hand it back to Valentina. If there's any questions or you want to connect with me, feel free to reach out. I would love to hear from you. And wishing everybody the best. Thank you. All right, Valentina, I'll hand it back over to you.
Thank you so much, Trina. This was a fantastic presentation. I had a couple moments there. Thanks for sharing all those, very personal stories of difficult times that we all experienced. And in those moments, I think the common reaction is to think that you're out there alone. But we very much are not alone in these experiences. We all go through some form of shapes of challenges, and we try to juggle everything and still keep on top of our careers and workspaces. So thank you again. It was an amazing presentation. I wish you heard some of us laughing when you when you were talking about the picture and the missing kid, those oh boy moments that we all have as parents, especially, right? When it was really fun. Thank you again.
You're welcome.
We can open for questions. I'm not sure if Jody has anything that popped up in chat, and we want to read out loud for Richard, Trina, and give answers here to our audience.
Actually, Trina, you did such a great job. I think I don't see any questions in the Q&A or in chat. But I think a lot of people connected with you today. I think the chat's going off with a lot of thank yous.
Wonderful.
And that this was powerful. So thank you so much for sharing. Your story was very inspiring.
Yeah, we have some excellent presentation, powerful. Thank you so much, Trina. Lots of great advice. Thank you. I will remember to practice to say no, still a thing for me. We have so many positive comments. I think, mostly it was very enjoyable to hear those stories and learn how you managed to cope with difficult times and just navigate such a successful career. Very, very impressive.
Thank you.
All right. So, we want to just bring everyone's attention back to the fact that we'll have more for you. There's 3 more sessions under the Power of Personal Professional Development series. Thank you so much, Rich, for being here today. He has been an active sponsor working with Trina on Tech Moms. We actually were able to support the initiative of a Latinas cohort and sponsor their childcare to allow these that we call Tech Moms to go through the training course without worrying about childcare. This was all made possible by our executive sponsor. So thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so if there's no questions, we can wrap it up. We promised 45 minutes and we're delivering. So we're gonna give everyone a couple minutes back. Wish you a great rest of your Thursday. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Amazing turnout today.
Take care, everybody.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Recording stopped.
Awesome. Thank you, Valentina, for hosting a great session. Thank you, Rich, Trina.
Yeah.
Great information.
No, it was great. Thank you for having me. I'm glad that it was well received.
It really was amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
really good
people-
attendance.
People is still logging off, so if you want to give them a minute.
Sure.
All right. Well, thanks, Valentina. I'm gonna log off and.
Okay.
If you
Shall
need
I
anything-
end for all? Are we all good to
Yeah.
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 I think so.
separate here?
Great.
Amazing. Trina,
Have a great
thank you.
afternoon.
We'll talk soon.
All right. We'll
Bye.
do. See you. Bye-bye.